Hey guys, it's Megan, and today I'm back with another painting tutorial. I've been seeing these sort of like preppy collage style paintings everywhere lately, and I don't know why, but I have a feeling that the whole like preppy aesthetic is going to be super popular this summer. It kind of already is getting more popular, but you know what I mean. These paintings are not as easy as they look. I was gonna do this last week, but I totally screwed it up the first time, but I eventually figured it out, and I'm going to take you step by step through how I did it. For this project, I used an 8x10 canvas panel, a pencil, some acrylic paint, paintbrushes in a couple different sizes, paint pens, glitter, and Mod Podge. My number one tip for doing this type of painting is to sketch out your design first. I recommend starting with a larger focal point and adding smaller images around it. For my focal point, I did one of these smiley faces with stars for eyes. This is super easy. I just traced around a lid to make a circle, drew 2 stars for the eyes, and a curved line for the mouth. Next, I drew 2 butterflies sort of sitting on the edges of the smiley face. Again, these are fairly easy to draw. I just did a curved line on the edge of the circle for the butterfly's body, then drew the wings. The top wing is this sort of like curve with 2 bumps in the middle, and the bottom wing is more of an oval shape. I always feel really like awkward trying to explain this, but I feel like you can kind of see what I'm doing. Then I did 2 lines for the antennas, and added details to the wings by drawing a few teardrop shapes. As you can see, I did something different for the first one, so I went back and changed it because I just felt like the teardrop shapes kind of looked better. Now that I had my focal point, I kind of just put a bunch of random images around it. I drew a couple of these flowers. For these, you just do a circle for the center and draw 5 curves around it. I also drew some random blobs, some hearts, this little skull. To draw this, I made sort of an upside down horseshoe shape, then drew a smaller U shape underneath it, connecting them with 2 short lines. I drew an upside down heart shape for the nose, added a curve with some U shapes on the top and bottom for the teeth, and 2 circles for the eyes. There's another one of those flowers, some more blobs, a crown, some lightning bolts, a few stars, some drips at the top. I feel like a lot of this stuff is simple enough that it really doesn't need an explanation, but feel free to pause the video if you need to. You definitely don't need to make it exactly the same as this one either. The fun thing about these types of paintings is that they're all a little bit different. I drew some eyes, a few dollar signs. I drew a yin-yang sign by drawing a circle, then drawing an S-shaped curve in the middle. I added smaller circles inside the curves. I also drew one of these hearts with eyes and a Polaroid camera. If you can't figure out what to draw, try searching for things like preppy paintings or preppy stickers. And of course, you can make these collage paintings in any sort of like aesthetic that you want. I think a cottagecore one would look cool. You could do like a frog or a mushroom in the middle and do different flowers and plants around it. Or you could do like some sort of theme, like you could do a Disney theme and have a Mickey Mouse or a castle in the middle with different characters around it. If you're into that, it's really up to you. Now that we have the design sketched out, we can start painting. Again, this was sort of random and I was basically making it up as I went along. The colors that I chose were a bit more muted and pastel. I used these paints from Folk Art. You can pause if you want to read the names. And I also used white, black, and the color Crimson Red from Arteza. The only thing that I don't like about painting is that you usually need 2 coats to make it opaque. This can be a good and a bad thing. It's good because you can still see the pencil lines, which is helpful for something like the smiley face that uses multiple colors. But it's also bad because, well, you can still see the pencil lines. I didn't really have much of a method to this. I started by filling in areas where I could use colors straight from the bottle, like the smiley face and the butterfly wings. Also, don't be afraid to like paint more or do something different from what you sketched out. I ended up adding a bunch of random paint strokes here and there, and really just tried to fill the whole canvas with some sort of color. Again, you might need to go back and give some areas a second coat. The key to doing a painting like this is to do lots of layers. Like over here, I painted some wavy yellow lines, and I did some short blue paint strokes in a few spots. I sort of did the opposite of what you're supposed to do, because generally when you're painting, you're supposed to start with your lighter colors and then move on to the darker ones, but I kind of did the opposite. And I thought there was still too much white space in the background, so I mixed some of the darker colors with white, and added a tiny bit of water to it to create this sort of like watercolor effect for the background. I made a light orange, green, purple, and blue, and just put them anywhere that I thought needed some extra color. Once the majority of the background was done, I went in and added some more details. I added small dots with dark blue paint. I actually sort of messed this up in this one area, and if that happens, before it dries, what you can do is dip your brush into the water and then sort of like paint the water on top and just like water it down, and then you can go and get a paper towel and use that to soak up the water. And it'll be good as new. I painted a few hearts with this red paint, then went in with my Posca pens. You don't necessarily need paint pens, you can definitely just use your normal paint and a small brush, but these make it like 100 times easier. I used a gold Posca pen for the smiley face, eyes, and mouth, and also for the dollar signs. This is actually where it's kind of helpful if you use cheap paint, because I could sort of still see like the stars and the mouth for the smiley face. I mean, I did do a couple coats of the pink paint, so I couldn't see it that well, but obviously it's not that complicated either, so. I also used it to add a few of these cross shapes. Next, I used my black Posca pen to add even more details. You know what, if you don't have paint pens, a Sharpie might work too. I used black to draw the eyes, drew a bunch of little circles, and traced around a few drawings that were left, like the skull in the Polaroid camera. I also drew some of these like curved dashed lines. A lot of this stuff is like very abstract, which makes it very fun to do. You really cannot mess it up. That's the great thing about paint. If you mess it up, just paint over it. Try not to worry about making it too perfect, because with this type of painting, the more messy that it looks, the better that it looks, in my opinion. This was actually super relaxing. I recently took sort of like a break from making art, and this really helped me to sort of get back into things. I actually really like the colors that I went with. I feel like if I ever redo my room, these would be good colors. I made a video decorating my room over quarantine, and I basically made it like purple with some neutral colors, and apparently that's the colors of the asexual flag. That's cool. That was not the vibe I was going for. I just really like purple, and I feel really bad because like there was no hidden messages in that. I know people were trying to read into that, you know, but I am straight. I just tend to go for more like non-internet people, because as an internet person, respectfully, internet people are kind of annoying. But after all the paint dried, the last step was to add glitter. This part's optional, I just think that it makes it look cool. I added Mod Podge to the eyes and the mouth of the smiley face, and dumped glitter on top. I tapped off the excess, and when that dried, I covered everything with a second layer of Mod Podge to seal it. If you're using Mod Podge, make sure that you use the gloss kind and not the matte one. But if you don't have Mod Podge, you can use regular Elmer's glue as well. But once that dried, here's how my finished painting turned out. I'm seriously obsessed with this. I think that this style of painting is just so cute. I really love the whole like preppy vibe. I don't really have an aesthetic. I kind of just like what I like, but this comes pretty close. Like, I went shopping today and I saw so many tiered skirts. Basically everything's a Love Shack fancy knockoff. We love it. Comment down below, where do people shop now? Literally like 75% of my wardrobe comes from Hollister, which I feel like I'm probably a little bit old to shop there at this point, but I don't know, I think they have some cute stuff. Also, let me know if there are any other painting tutorials that you'd like to see, or if there are any other aesthetics that you think I should try out. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos just like this one. My merch, my website, and all of my social media will be linked down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys later. Bye!